Hey everybody, it's Ricky from All Sorts of Words, and this is the most impromptu stream I've ever done. My wife went to bed, and I'm not tired. I have poison ivy, and I'm wearing a kimono. Let's talk about money. So I'm going to Terrificon with a large number of YouTubers in just a few months. I think it's August. Let's look it up. Let's look it up together. August Terrificon. So this convention is here. Let's look at it together. This convention coming up, Terrificon. This is a huge. Here, let me share my screen here so you can see this. This is a huge convention for comic books specifically. There are celebrities and stuff that are going to be here, but look at this. Look at this comics guests list. It's insane. Jim Lee. Here, let's do this. Let me show you something cool. I don't want to leave you. I don't want to leave you hanging. We can be on the screen together at the same time. Me and screen share. Here we go. Look at this. Look at this. And then here we're going to do. Look at all this editing we're doing live. Isn't this fascinating? So I learned how to create like a screen share thing. Check this out. So where I can show you media slot. We're doing this live. So if you pay for the full StreamYard, this thing's sick. Okay, save. Now watch this. Check it out. We're going to do the Terrificon guest list together. Look at that. Jim Lee. So Terrificon, August 16th to 18th. About 8 months ago, I did my finances because I have a good full-time job. My wife has a good full-time job, and we each work part-time as college professors. And so our part-time college professor money goes towards anything we want. This is our shut up and fuck you money. If I want to buy 10 body pillows of Ryoko Matoi from Kiro Dakiru, I can, and no one can stop me. So I originally, about a year ago, budgeted for like literally $14,000, a ridiculous amount of money to go to a convention, right? Who would actually spend that much money? And over the year, I've been buying comic books and video games all year long, and just that number has been dwindling, going down, down, down. And oh, we've got some people here. Hey everybody. Lettuce. I'm not stalking you. Lettuce, you're welcome to jump on if you want to talk about money, buddy. Anybody, in fact, we're doing this caller show style. If you want to see that Ricky Cadabra right there, if you want to shoot me a message on Instagram, I'll send you the link to the stream. You can jump on. Let's do it Fraser Crane style. So regardless, I had a big pile of money and it's just been dwindling, buying buying my Nike shoes and taking my wife out to dinner, all the things. And now that amount is down to $2,000. How do you go from $14,000 to $2,000? Well, you operate like me and you have a philosophy of don't pass up a good deal. So I feel that if I miss out on a good comic book deal, I feel like, how do we put this? If I miss out on a comic book deal, I feel like I left money on the table. So here's a weird example. There's a guy right now sending me an offer on eBay. You know what? Let's look at it together. Let me do my eBay screen. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So this guy is sending me an offer. And you know what? If someone else stole this from underneath me, I'd let them. Let's do the eBay. The electronic bay. Okay, so bids and offers. This fella. Oh my goodness. Stop screen. Here. Now you just saw my real personal email address. It's okay. You know what? It's not letting me. Go to hell. Anyway, on eBay, a dude is offering me a Legion of Superhero, Action Comics 276. He's offering me Action Comics 276, and he's saying, I'll give it to you for $350, and there's a whole bunch of other adventure and action comics that come with it. 350 is a reasonable price, but he left it open for that negotiation of like, or make best offer. And I know for a fact I could probably get him down to like 275, 300, right? The Action Comics 276 is effectively the first giant size X-Men for Legion of Superheroes. There's a bunch of superheroes that people associate with that team that show up in that issue. And so he's offering me 350 for a bunch of adventure comics and stuff, and that comes in it. Thing is, if you bought that book by itself in the quality that he's offering it, you're usually looking about $500. Now, my stupid collector brain says, okay, if a guy's offering me 350 for a $500 book, holy crap, if I don't buy it, I'm leaving $150 on the table. Thing is, I'm still spending $350 to get this comic book, but that's not how my brain works. The brain works and sees it as a lost opportunity where, well, I want that book. So in a couple of months, if I go to buy it, I'll be spending 500, not 350. What a fool I am for leaving that on the table. And that's where I personally kind of spiral. I can't pass up a good deal, even if it's not something I'm actively collecting. So, is anyone sitting? Nope. Okay. I'm just checking the messages on Instagram to see if anybody wants to join in. Okay, so this convention's coming up. I've told myself I'm going to spend only so much money. I've got a budget of about $2,000. Look who's going to be here. Chris Claremont. I don't give a damn. I'm glad you do. Mark Wade, on and off writer. Sometimes Mark Wade is not an indication of quality. I want to make that clear. If I see Mark Wade's name, it doesn't exactly leap off the pages and like, this is going to be a great read. Oh, here we go. Opportunity cost is real. No, you're not kidding. Mark Wade, Greg Capullo, another one. Really, really great artist. I can't complain about him, but can you imagine what it's going to be for like a custom sketch from this guy? Can you even imagine? Scott Snyder. I just read Witches, WYTCHS. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. I don't like people signing my books though. Anyway, this is neither here nor there. This is the convention that I'm going to. I'm just scrolling through so you can get an idea of, how big this is going to be and the types of books that are going to be there. Other content creators, including Mike from Lunch Money Comics, who have been to this convention before, identify it as an actual true blue comic book convention. You can go here and you can spend unlimited, endless amounts of cash if you want to. So you're spoiled by choice. I mean, you want to meet Mark Bagley, get an original sketch? Go for it. How much is that going to be? Like $500? Oh, Scott Snyder and FCBD. He was super nice. That's good to hear. You don't want to hear that they're dicks. But the point is, I'm not made of infinite money. I haven't discovered the infinite money glitch. And so I'm at a point now. I'm at a critical point here. Let's make it personal for a second. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. And then we'll change this to this. One day I'm going to program this all to buttons so I don't have to torture you guys. So what's kind of got me on this topic is I have a deal with my wife. All of my nerdiness has to remain in this room, all of it. So she has the rest of the house in terms of design, but I get the second bedroom or the third room or the bigger office, whatever. And then all of my ness has to exist inside of this space. I have a lot of different hobbies. I like reading. I like video games. Where's that? Video games. I like these fun lights. I like being myself in this room. So I don't want comic books to take it over. Comic books really quickly take up a lot of space. You get one run, that's a short box. A short box is nothing to screw around with. So I keep all of my comics in a double-doored closet right here. You can't see it. But this is, you know what? Here, let's do this. Right here. This wall behind this is a double-door closet, and this has all of my comics in it. Literally all of them. The only thing I ever set up is a 3 comic book setup over there that I alternate every Friday, because if I take the comics out of the closet and I paint the walls with them, I will look like a 12-year-old NSYNC fan. You know what I mean? I will fill my life with comic books if I take them out of the closet. So I leave them in there, and I am at critical capacity at this point. it's beyond full. There's no more room in hell. So now the dead have to walk the earth. Well, I'm at a point now where my comic book fund for this Terrificon convention has gone down and my space is at its peak. So now I'm in that spot where I said I'd never be, where I actually have to consider parting with some of the things in my collection. And this comes with its good and its bad. Hey, whoop, hey everybody. I'm sorry. I'm so shitty about the comments, but I will get you here. So I'm left in a position that a lot of comic collectors are in, and that I say that I will never be a part of, which is I have to now sell stuff. I have to sell stuff, not because I want to. Everything I bought, I had with the full intention of keeping until I died, getting buried with it King Tut style. I don't have any kids. But now I'm in the position that I always judged other collectors for, saying, "Oh, I'm looking to sell stuff." So now I have to think about I have to think about emptying up this closet, making money, and it's icky. Can I be honest with you for a second? It gets icky. Storage locker. Stop. No, I won't do that. One, it's another it's more money taken away from the comic book hobby and put into something else. I hate that. Oh my god. Okay, so you can't see this, but my Instagram chat, I always let comic book community members know, "Hey, I'm going to be doing a stream. Do you want to jump on?" And I've gotten like four different people say they're watching Disney movies with their family. This is the plight of not having children. Everybody else does. So here's what I'm considering selling. I've got a complete 80s run of the original Suicide Squad. I've got that ready to go. I paid $45 for that entire run. I think I put a whatnot seller out of business. He was trying to give away really good deals with full runs a couple months ago, and I just kept going back weekend after weekend. I ate them up every weekend. And so I've got that run. I've got Justice League International and Justice League Europe, that whole run, all of it. These are like full short boxes. I have Spawn 1 through 38, which is that's nothing to sneeze at in terms of funding nowadays. People are willing to pay more for a full run of Spawn than they are looking. No, I will never sell my Vampirella. Vampirella's not going up for sale. So okay, that's one of the points I want to make. So this is a shitty situation to be in. Just understanding that my closet is full. What am I going to do? I have to start selling some stuff. This convention's coming up. I'd like some more funds. You have a real conversation with yourself when you've got a deadline like that, like an August deadline of this convention, and an idea of how much money you want to have. So I have to have, I have to sell this stuff. But now I'm wondering how, like, what do I keep? You know what I mean? And so this confrontation of like, I need the money, I need the space, is meeting head on with what I want my collection to look like. And so I have to start asking myself some real questions. Do I really care about having ooh, do I really care about having a Justice League International run? Does that really impact my life in a positive way? But then when I pick up some of my indie books, like when I picked up my Crow set, I've got the Crow trilogy in 8.0. There's no way I could sell that. It's too unique of a collection. And although I could probably get close to, maybe like 1500, 1800, somewhere in there, although I could, and that'd be a great chunk of change, I know I picked those up. I said, could I sell these? And I can't. So now I'm kind of going through my collection book by book, chunk by chunk, and asking myself, is this something I want to get rid of or I'm ready to get rid of? So uh look, this is the other part of this. So the lead singer of Werewolf of London, oh, Werewolves of London. I can't remember his name. He had a great quote about books where he said, "We're not buying books, we're buying the assumption that we have the time to read them." And that's true of anybody that reads. My bookshelf over here that I always stand in front of my videos, that whole top section, Warren Zevon, thank you. That whole top section are books that I haven't read yet, but I want to read them. I've done the same thing with comics. Whole ass runs, hundreds of issues worth of runs, and I only read so much of them before I either got bored or busy and I wanted to change things up and I'm reading something else. Right now, oh my god, my reading's in the other room. Right now, I don't have an end table next to my bed, so I take a stack of comic books and my book and my reading book and my book light and a bunch of stuff, and I slide it under the bed. And right now, the stack is about yay tall. It goes all the way up to the bottom of the bed. And then I have my book, my reading light, and then my Judge Dredd volume that I'm reading up to volume 2. I've only gotten to volume 2 on that one. The amount of reading that I have to do to keep up with this stuff, there's just not enough time. So then, like, am I doing myself a disservice? Okay, so I have a question for everybody in the chat. What is the actual amount of comic books? Just give me a number. What is the actual amount of comic books you believe you read in a given week? Myself, let's see. I probably read 2 to 3 a day. I am wearing a kimono. This is the kimono from the movie The Sadness, which is effectively the closest thing to a crossed movie we're ever going to get. It's gross. 15 to 20. Yeah, man. See, you're reading more than me, man. Everybody else, how many comics do you think you read a week? So if I'm reading 3 comics a day, realistically, because I also read my books, I also play video games, I have other hobbies, I have a wife and a dog I like to walk. If I read 3 books a week, I'm sorry, 3 books a day, 21 books a week, 84 books a month. About 800 books 800 to, 1,000 books a year. But we hop over to, oh, here we go. 10-ish. I believe that's a pretty realistic number. Exodus comics, 15 to 20, yeah. 12 a week, sure. 2 to 3 a week, mostly graphic novel form. Okay, so if mostly graphic novel form, that actually puts you closer to like 18 if you're doing 2 to 3 graphic novels, because those are about 6 a piece. So here's what's slowing me down. Here's one thing slowing down my reading. I like to read classics, and I'm also a masochist. And similar with my preference for dicks, the thicker the better. So I'm currently reading War and Peace. I've been reading War and Peace for 2 weeks, and I'm about 10% of the way through. So that puts me at page 1. I'm at 98, so I'm almost at 100, and the book has 700 pages. It's a monster of a tome. But if I want to read my classics, I gotta pump the brakes on stuff. You know what I mean? 18 a week, 14 to 15 a week. That's okay. So that's like what? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. So like 2 to 3 a day, somewhere in there. Yeah, Tolstoy for real. I'm a mood reader. So okay, that's where I'm glad you said that, because I started a strict reader. Like, I'm going to read this 20 issue run and I'm not going to stop. And all that did was ruin my palate for whatever I was reading. So if I'm reading The Darkness and I'm having a good time, there's like 53 books in that series. Do you sit there and read the entire canon of The Darkness until you're done with something else? The art gets stale. I don't care how good your art is. Your art gets stale, and then your attention wavers. So I feel like I will get through the entire run of The Darkness if I slow down and read it slower. Yeah, talking about War and Peace. Recently read all the books in the Wheel of Time back to back. Christ, sir. That is a huge series. So I'm reading what's it called? The Sword of Truth series. I'm on book 10 of that. It's a good time. I'm a run reader and a collector. When I sold my runs, I just kept one coming. You know what? That's cool. That's a sick way to do it. You pick your favorite book in the run that you read, and then you get rid of the rest. Yeah, yes, I do the same thing. I put something down and I come back to it later. Completely on the same page. Look, again, can't make this clear. If anybody wants to jump on caller style, just there's my name, Ricky Cadabra. Shoot it up on Instagram. I would happily have you join the crew. He's trying to tell a story about Leo Tolstoy, and I keep missing it. So money is not infinite. Space is not infinite. And now I'm at a point where I have to sell. Oh, Up North Comics is coming on. What a pervert. We're going to let this guy on here, guys. Let's copy this link. Send it over. Boom, boom, boom. He's a nice guy. We'll be nice to him. So I don't know what to. I'm in a weird place. I have so many valuable books. If I wanted to, if I really wanted to, I could like part with Supergirl and recoup $3,000 and then solve all of my problems. But then then I don't have her in my life. So that's that feeling, that anxiety of like, I don't want to get rid of it. That anxiety makes me know that I shouldn't get rid of that book. The moment it'll leave my possession, I'll feel terrible about myself. And especially the really, really rare stuff like that Johnny the Homicidal Maniac magazine, that Goth magazine. I've never seen it. I'll never see it again. I can't get rid of that book. Oh, Richard, I'm sure you'd be great on camera. Trust me. So Richard, I was very camera shy, very, very camera shy before I started. I'm still kind of camera shy. Every time I put the camera on, I get a little nervous. When I keep my keys and convert runs to trade paperbacks. Oh God, the trades. This isn't an indictment of you in any way. Here, I'm gonna have it here. What's up, buddy? Hold on, let me add you. Hey, girl. Hey. So,
hey.
just said this. I keep telling myself I want to keep my keys and convert my trades. This is in no way an indictment of your statement. No way an indictment. Just like I feel like I will have wasted my time in this hobby if I get rid of books. I'd almost feel like I was a stock trader at that point. Like I converted my books back into money, and then now I just have this like kind of memory. I would have saved so much money if I just started with the trade. I would save so much money. So we're kind of jumping all over the place and just chatting about money and space. And you're in a basement. So would you think that you have endless space for comics? It's money that's the challenge.
Yeah, I do, but I get a lot of water in my basement in the springtime sometimes, so that kind of just really irks me. So my space is kind of limited. That's what I like to tell myself, but if I wanted to, I could probably fill this down here pretty quickly.
Mm.
I'm just yeah, I'm not the kind of person that really is going to be hoarding books. I mean, I know that I'm really bad for saying this, that I have doubles of certain books and triples even, but I don't know. I don't really consider myself being going off the deep end and having 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 books.
Okay, so I'm closer to like 12.
Okay.
At this point. And I've reached critical capacity. It is beyond full at this point. Like my closet, no, like for real talk. I got a new, I'll show him here. And I'll show him off in a minute. I did get a whole bunch of new Vampirella Virgin variants. Nice. And I've been keeping all of my Vampirella Virgin variants in one short box, which is now absolutely filled.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, and yes, I don't. No, no is the answer. I didn't mean yes. I track them in my head, and then certain runs that I'm collecting, I have like spreadsheets on my phone, so I don't miss anything. See, I envy this. Only 600 in your collection. Only want 2 more, and then I'm done collecting comics.
Oh, that is a loaded statement there.
Wow, that's 598 copies of AF-15.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, no. I was going to stop buying books for a year. Yes, I was, because I was saving up for this Terrificon convention. But then look, and this, and you know this, JLS. This is real talk. Like when you see that once in a lifetime deal, you know that you're never going to see it in your lifetime again. And so you dive, and all of a sudden you're selling the book that you didn't, all of a sudden you're buying the book that you said you didn't have the money for, because you tell yourself, oh, I was going to buy it later when I did have the money, but it would have been more expensive then. So I should get it now.
Yeah.
How often do you do that, Bruce? Don't lie to me.
Oh my God, all the time. It's funny because I just made a video about this just now. That's why I'm down here. I was recording and I said, I collect comics. You can't tell me not to buy comic books. Like you can't tell me not to buy comic books. When I see something that I want, I will convince myself that I need it. And I do it all the time. All the time.
Oh, Ricky, I have a rabbit hole for you. I've recently been buying comic journals from the 70s and 80s, chock full of amazing comics, criticism, and scandalous industrial shenanigans. Okay, so that I was at my local comic store, Mid Coast Comics, and he sold me. He was like $20 for the box. Just take it. And it was full of British horror movie reviews from like the 80s. It's like Scream magazine or whatever. And so I get the same feeling of like, I don't just want to, Google best horror movies about kids or whatever. You know what I mean? I want the stuff that I haven't heard of before. And so I find old horror magazines, old comic book magazines are really useful in that regard, because there were people back then who wanted to go off the beaten path too. So like an old Wizard magazine from the 90s still has some really cool stuff in it, because they're pointing you in the direction that isn't the mainstream. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, Bruce, oh, we have another trash bag friend.
Oh, lettuce.
They let him, they acquitted him. They couldn't find enough of that girl. They let him out. Lettuce, what do you think? I'm going to ask a rando question, and then I want to hear the chat on this too, and I'm going to throw your answers in the screen. What is your soft weekly budget of like, I could comfortably spend this every week on comics and I'd be happy? I mean, obviously we go over and under sometimes, but like, what is the general ballpark?
So I actually have, I have a separate bank account that part of my paycheck pulls into every 2 weeks. And it's $150 every 2 weeks that gets pulled into there, but I typically use that as like, this is I don't have to, this is separate from bill money. This is just stuff that I want to buy for me. But that includes like, getting lunch at work, or just miscellaneous things that I don't do with my wife. So I would say, like, if I spend $50 a week on comics, I'm all right. I've been pushing it a little here recently, and using Zaxby's reward points. Shout out to the Cobb salad. But yeah, I would say like between $100 and $150 every 2 weeks. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, Bruce, what are you up to? What are we looking at here?
Okay, well, to go off what Lettuce was saying, Mr. Hagen here, what really gets me is the PayPal Pay in 4 feature. That gets me every time, because then I don't have to worry about it for like 2 months, right? I could just, this comic's $500. Pay $100 now. Sure, whatever. Every 2 weeks, I get paid every 2 weeks. I get paid bi-weekly. So really, that's gotten me in trouble a couple times. It's better than putting it on the credit card. Just today, I pulled money out of my, I got like Hagen does. When I get paid, everything goes into different accounts, right? So I get a certain amount of money that gets put into, it's called the tax club, whatever. So at the end of the year, all my money that I would pay for my house taxes are there. Well, I pulled some money from that today because I purchased some books last night, and I was like, no, I'll just pay it back later. And that's where it starts.
That's some real shit though. Yeah. That's some real honesty.
Stuff. That's like finding crack on the floor, pretty much.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
you're gonna wake up behind a dumpster, huddled around like 60 copies of X-Men 1. Not
Right?
that one, the other one.
yeah, and not that one, the other one.
The other one.
Yeah,
Now we're just gonna be doing this after a while.
yeah,
What? Yeah, but
yeah. It's so expensive, and
it
like,
is.
and it doesn't end. There's no end to it because
No.
we've all justified like, and this is what's wild. Oh, here we go. Maybe $100. I don't buy one in. I don't know what that second part meant. I don't buy one in. That's the thing. Like, we all tell ourselves like, oh, there's no way I'll be able to afford that Fantastic Four #1. And then over the course of the year, the person that wants Fantastic Four #1 has spent $6,000 on comics, and it's like, homie, if you just held out for one more year, you'd have it.
That's why Rohan yells at me so much. Yeah, it is a slippery slope, Brian. You're right.
It is.
So I don't have a budget. I'm not saying that I make all kinds of money, because I definitely don't. I work at a paper factory, but in
a digital age, you poor bastard.
I don't know. I just whatever.
My father works. He makes boogie whips. my mom works at the big wheeled bicycle factory.
Yeah. I still hold true to, as long as the bills are paid, then that's all that really matters.
Now, so that's another thing that contributes to all of this nonsense is like, if you have any other hobbies, like I also have, I'm a big PlayStation stan. So I've got all the systems set up all the way through 5. I still buy games all the time. I was playing Yakuza 4 right before I came on here.
Cool.
So I dig video games. Video games are expensive. Those are $60 a pop, $70 a pop now.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And you got kids.
I do a lot of sim racing. Like to the left of me, I have a cockpit with an ultra wide monitor and a sim wheel and pedals, and that's not cheap. Just like getting the equipment isn't cheap. I do a lot of iRacing, so there's a subscription service to it, and that's like every year. So anytime that like that $150 for me, that's for everything. And so there was a month a little while ago where I did not buy a single comic book because I had to pay for all of the other nerdy crap that I want to do, and I just had to put that on the back burner, and I spent like time reading the books that I had already gotten. So I found ways to entertain myself. But it's there's not enough money for what I want to spend it on.
Yeah, definitely not. And like you said, like, I have enough books right now where I could keep myself busy for probably till we go to Terrificon. And there's just that thing in the back of my mind. It's like, you need more comic books, but I don't, I could be saving that money. It's just hard. It's hard to convince yourself to save. It really is.
So I've found, I'll say that like it persists even when you do save. Cause like my wife and I, we're good with, I'd like to think we're good with money. But all that means is I'm doing the same shit, just I'm playing with more chips. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So like we're putting money away. The savings is there, but all of a sudden, like I literally yesterday, I just on a whim, because it was a great deal, I spent $600 of my budget on a comic book because it was one that I was going to get at Terrificon. So I justified in my head, if I walked in the doors of Terrificon day one and I saw this book on the shelf, I would have pulled it off and I would have pulled the trigger on it 100%, with a smile on my face and skipped all weekend. So it's like, why am I waiting to hunt for this at Terrificon where the prices are always way higher at cons? It would have broke my heart if I would have missed this opportunity. So
I almost found myself in that situation. I'm going to Heroes Con here in a few weeks. And one of the main books that I want to get is Avengers 4. And I've been looking like high and low just to like comp things out to see like if I see this price at this con, then I know that this is X number of dollars over and under where I could get it online. But I did see one on Instagram from, I think, like Comic Grails or something like that. And they had it for, I think, $800, and it was a 2.5. And that was, I think, $200 cheaper than I had seen it anywhere else before. I was saved by the fact that they forgot to put that it had already been claimed and sold. But I had my finger hovering over the withdraw from Acorns button to do that. Like I was right there.
Yeah. It's hard. It's almost like it's like a sunk cost fallacy, but on the front end. like I'm already so deep in this run. If I just get this book, and like it'll complete the run, it'll pull it together. It'll pull this rug really pulled the room together. But like real talk, so when I first got back into collecting in 2020, this book, it only existed 2 at a time. There was like a 4.0 for like $4,000, and there was like a 3.0 for like $2,800.
Right.
And it just, and only recently it feels like people have really opened up the vault on this book in terms of like, there's now books out there, copies of it to buy. And so it was such a low price. I mean, this is where I come off like a complete piece of shit. $600, such a low price. And there's like somebody who, just like pulled off a piece of their arm to feed their child like an hour ago. And I'm like bitching about.
Funnier than what I was going to say.
Oh no.
I was just going to say living off ramen, but anyways, continue.
No, I don't know. Am I crazy, or is this just like a symptom of the hobby?
It's just the way it is.
It's the boiled frog thing, like we've been in this hobby for as long as we have, and we know around what these things go for. I have a buddy who collects Hot Wheels. I have a Hot Wheels collection as well, but I have a buddy who collects Hot Wheels, and he gets into like they have treasure hunts and super treasure hunts. They're just like the rarer ones, and they can get up to be like, they have some called the Sweet 16, which are the first 16 that came out. Those can be like a couple $100 a piece, and he'll send these to me, and he's talking about how they're crazy expensive. And then I look at my eBay watch list and I feel like crap because I'm not gonna buy like a $1,200 comic book. I'm not at that place yet. Yeah. But it seems normal to me. Like there was an AF-15 that I saw on Instagram for $31,000, and I thought, like, that's not a bad price for that book, and that's insane. That's a new car, you know? Like, of course, people like me aren't going to buy that, but I don't know. It's just, we know how much these things go for, and because of that, that's what gives them their value. Like at the end of the day, this is a hobby where we collect generally like 8 pieces of paper stapled together and folded over, and we pay, between 50 cents and $2.5 million for that. It's insane,
astronomically insane.
Yeah, that's a lot of.
It's a lot of cheddar.
That's a lot of cheddar. Here, where's me? I want to find it here. So I've got one in here. Me, custom layout 8, me panel, screen share, me panel. There we go. I'll run through these really quick. This was a Whatnot thing where, again, so some of these books I'm about to show you, these Vampirella books, some of them, they, on eBay, the only place you can get, books, the only place you can get books for Vampirella variants a lot of times, aside from Whatnot, is Whatnot. And so on Whatnot, sometimes what's on eBay for $35 will be on Whatnot for like $7. And then I'll say to myself, oh, that's a steal. I'm still spending $7.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So like here's one.
That's cool.
I like the like horde of rats and bats and all sorts of junk. And then this is the same cover, but this is the one of 333 pressing because it's got a bloody background. Because that again, so it was like 7 and 7, it's 14. Trash. I got this set. This is one set that somebody had, Draculina and Vampirella.
Cool.
And these are both 616, only 333 pressed. I do see questions popping up in the chat, and I'll get them 1 second. I love this one.
Yeah, I like that one too.
Another 333. This is just a Jesus.
Mm.
Look at that! Look at that clearly drawn human woman.
Right.
Look at that.
Yeah, those are proportions that are anatomically possible.
Yeah, like
for sure.
Like,
right?
Okay, honey, I'm ready for dinner. Bitch, where can I take you? Where could I actually take you?
Right.
This is classy. I really like this one. Look at that.
Yeah.
I really like that one.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's just beautiful.
It's different. Very different, actually.
We got a Peach Momoko virgin variant.
Mm-hmm.
She's such a great artist. I don't know who did this one. But this put me over. I'm at like 240 Vampirella virgin variants at this point.
Oh, just the virgin variant.
Just the virgin variants. That's the ones that you really want to go for.
Mm.
This one. Kind of weird.
Yeah.
I mean, it's weird, but they all give you boners.
Mm.
A black and white and a color variant. The color variant in this case is the 1 in 15. And the gray is the 1 in 7. Because everyone hates us.
Because comics.
Weird action pose. And then I love this one. It's like a Vampirella without context. Vampirella on the moon biting Space Rasputin's neck.
With like a clip art globe in the background.
Yeah, and I wonder if there's some slight against Africa they're making right here. And then last one, just a photo virgin variant cover.
Very cool.
But so each one of those was anywhere between $7 and $20. I'm like, well, on eBay they're $35, so I pretty much have to.
Yeah, but you wouldn't buy 15 at a time, and that's how Whatnot gets you.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, that's a dangerous app, man.
Ricky was asking how much top dollar you spend for your comic books and you cut yourself off. Top dollar, it depends on how much I have in the time. But realistically, so okay, here's the deal. I've talked about my finances pretty openly before, how I have a full-time job, my wife has a full-time job, and we have our part-time whatever jobs on the side, right? And then the part-time jobs is our fuck you money. No one can tell you anything. It's my money. I did in fact buy a body pillow once. One time I'll bring her on the show so you can see her. It was Ryuko Matoi from Kill la Kill. Sorry, I'm literally applying Aquaphor to my poison ivy rash because I mowed my lawn yesterday and I ran over poison ivy, and then when I emptied the bag, the dust got all over me.
That's what happens when a comic book collector has to go outside. Just awful things happen.
Yeah. Is that a fucking bee? And like a bee kills my parents and I become a superhero in the new Doctor Strange movie. But so anyway, if I teach this, I'm totally open about my finances. If I teach a class, the class pays $4,000. And so I teach 4 classes a year. That's all fuck you money. And so that is, so if I was a monk for 2 years, I could afford an AF-15. I don't want an AF-15. I prefer collecting dozens and dozens of Vampirella version variants as opposed to an AF-15. So like my upper limit, my upper governor, if I fell in love with AF-15, yeah, sure, maybe I would spend 28 grand or something like that one day. like as a I mean, I don't have any kids. What do I care?
Right.
Hagen, how many meals are what's your upper governor?
At the moment, right now, like the Avengers 4 is the biggest thing that I have on my radar. Period. Like eventually, I would love to get any Golden Age Captain America book ever, but they're all so damn expensive, and I just can't. I can't afford that. So like roughly, I'm thinking like $800. I saw that one on Instagram for $800, so I know that they exist out there. So now that I know that, if I pay $900, I'm thinking like that's $100 that I could have put towards, something else or several something else's. So that's probably about my upper limit. If I win the lottery to play, that might change. But for right now, I think that's about it.
Bruce, do you have one, or are you willing to dip into your retirement fund?
No, the most I've ever spent so far is 500, and that was on my ASM 50. And yeah, the 80 X-Men 101 I got back there was pricey too. So I don't feel comfortable going over that right now. I have plans on getting giant size X-Men 1 and Hulk 181 in the future, but I just it scares me to spend that much money on a single book. Like Ricky was saying, if I hunker down and just save my pennies, I could probably get it if I stopped spending so much on comic books, but I just love them,
But we're not going to do that, so
no, probably
let's
not
even bother thinking about that.
That's off the table, honey.
Yeah, it's not even a question. So,
I do think I need to make like a slight addendum. It's $800 for that one, but the most I've ever spent on a comic book is this Captain America 117, and I think that was 240, 250.
Okay.
And so like, and I spent days thinking about that. I talked with my wife like, hey, I have this much saved up, but it feels ridiculous to spend this much money on paper. And she was like, but you saved it. Like you totally can. So that is probably like my upper limit for.
Hello.
Oh, hey.
Travis. Oh, you froze.
Are you getting?
No feedback.
Okay.
Yeah, a little spotty, but we'll get there.
Mm-hmm.
So we're answering questions right now about like upper governor in terms of like financial limit. Like what is your dead tippity top ceiling right now?
Can you hear us?
Can you hear me, Travis?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Probably would be my top right now.
Did you hear it? I didn't hear it. You cut out.
$150.
Sure. That's a respectable amount. You can get a lot of good books for that. Or a lot of small books. Yeah, so see the problem. Yeah. No, so we have separate we definitely have our separate like fun money spending for sure. So that doesn't really come into play there, but like I know like do all of you have kids?
No. I do not.
I just have one.
Just the one.
Oh, you
Travis,
just have one.
I just have one.
Only one.
Only one. For now. Holy.
Shit. Yeah, that's true. We do have wives. Oh, one kid. Oh, later, buddy. Nice to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Okay, so 10 minutes left in my hour-long live stream. I do want to bring up one thing about having a big expensive book and how it might make you uncomfortable. there is a little safety, in fact, in a really big and overpriced, ridiculous book. Because if you're willing to take a loss, not a major loss, but a loss, you can move it and get back money faster, I believe, than with here are a bunch of $5 books that are typically $20 books. I feel like those books, like I bought my Supergirl for $2,400, which is still the most I've ever spent on a comic book. If I wanted to take a loss and say $1,900, I could move it today.
Yep.
And that is a little bit more comforting than having a whole bunch of $50 books that might be more desirable tomorrow.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you, Ricky. Like I said, I spent $500 on my ASM 50. Well, a little over 500, but I had an offer today. The guy said, "Hey, what about 300 cash and $200 in trade?" And I was like, "Depends on what you have in trade." And he collects Golden Age and Pre-Code, and I know both of those things that could probably move. So, like, I'm weighing it now. You know, like this book wasn't initially up for sale per se, but now it's crunch time to Terrificon. I could probably use that $300. So, I'm kind of thinking about it. But like Ricky said, I could easily move that book because it's always going to be, you know, somebody's always going to want it. Versus, you know, all these small books like this one and this one and this one, they would take a while, you know. So,
if you have a $200 book, it's a lot easier to sell that for $100 or $150 than it is to sell $151 books.
Yep.
Like that just doesn't get like the kind of attention that you would need, especially like so. There are some books that I have that I would not sell just because like they were given to me or they have sentimental value. But like if I were to get that Avengers 4, if you know if my wife needed a leg, then I could sell that and help pay for the surgery because it's just a thing. I can get it later. It doesn't have any of that the memories attached to it. So
right.
It wouldn't be, it would be, this is the rationalization coming in. It would be more of an asset than like my Captain America 100. My wife bought that for me when we were in high school, so I'm never ever selling that. So it's effectively worthless. But books that I am willing to sell are not. So I guess that would be the benefit of having like a large big key. It's just a lot easier to move that than it is to move like I don't know how many Marvel one shots I have, but it's easier to move big stuff than a bunch of little stuff.
Yeah, and it's the buildup, right? I was trying to think of who was talking about this. It was Rohan on his recent interview he did with Keith, Days of Future Past. Rohan is part of what's it called? Geeks, Nerds, something. Anyways, he has his own YouTube channel, and he was interviewing him, and he was telling him that it's the buildup, right? It's saving for this big book. Like if we had an endless supply of money, we could just buy whatever we wanted at any time, and there would be no romance to it. There would be no feeling to it. You know, it's trying to save, and like you worked hard for that book, and you finally got it in your hands, and you're like, yes, like, you know, I'm not going to let this go unless I absolutely have to. So that is worth something, you know, that's a personal bond that you have with that item.
See, that's interesting because there is a bit of showing off kind of prestige that comes with meeting another comic book fan. And one comic book fan goes like, "Oh, I have all of these books in my collection. Isn't this amazing?" And then the guy goes like, "Oh no, well I don't have all of those comic books, but I do have the first appearance of Catwoman." Or you know what I mean? It's something comparable. Like, oh, so that's where you put your money. That what a feat. And almost like two collectors meeting in the wild, or like two bucks meeting in the wild, butting heads.
Sizing each other up for sure.
Yeah, oh wow, you put all your effort into that book. Well, I went in this direction. Oh, that's cool. And then all of a sudden you're showing each other books that like neither one of you would have bought from the other one's collection, but like it's neat that someone else has it. Like I don't give a shit about X-Men, but every time I see your guys' X-Men books, I go, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Travis, do you have any big like thick dick swinging book that you use to kind of like try to impress other comic collectors when you first meet him? Oh, he went up to his shelf. Shit. Oh, no microphone. If you can hear me, we totally can't hear you. No. We have a mime. You can. No, you are unmuted. Well, you're just here. Grab if you can grab it. He's gonna do it. I would have killed if he had no pants on. I would have loved it.
Yeah. Yeah, Lettuce would have sent him a message or said your flies unzipped.
Nice.
Cool.
Which one is it? Which number is that?
43, right? 45. Yeah.
5. Close no cigar. Do you ever
That's
feel
a
like
great lizard cover.
journey to getting a comic book is more enjoyable? Okay. Not all times. Yeah. If I went to a flea market on the side of the road and I'm like, holy shit, I found a book that I couldn't find anywhere else, or I would have only found it on eBay. That's one thing. But like even my story I shared a minute ago about like, I just got my Adventure 247. I'm so happy with myself. It was still just like click, 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 done. There's nothing sexy about that.
Yeah.
Complimenting your Spider-Man book.
So building off what you said, Ricky, like I bought some books off Dan from our group, and I had a pile of them that I bought from him, and then when I opened up the package, he threw in some freebies, and
I think I was muted.
Yeah, you were muted.
We got you.
Hey,
On my headphones. Thank you. What an idiot! I haven't used my headphones in so long. I must have hit the mute button on it.
Yeah.
But I have an ASM 300, but it's not at hand. But it's graded, but it's not up on my shelf.
Oh, you're like it's not on display right now?
No, it's not.
It's locked in a vault somewhere.
No, it's in a box that's under the bottom of it, and I'd have to dig to get it out.
Fair. Bruce, finish. What was that?
I bought some books off Dan, and it was a pile of books. And when I opened up the package, he threw in some extras, and he actually sent me this book. And I was more happy to see this just because I wasn't expecting it. Right? I was like, I wanted this book for a little while, so I was like, wow, like it kind of just threw me back. Like he read my mind a little bit, and he somehow knew that I wanted it. But I mean, the books that I got were great, and don't get me wrong, I love them. But just because I wasn't expecting to see this, it made it worth a little bit more to me.
Okay, well, we've only got 2 minutes left, and I want to use this time to get everybody their shout outs that are well deserved. Bruce from Up North Comics has a great channel. He's always putting out content. Not all of it on OnlyFans. He does put some on YouTube. Hagen from Lettuce Comics, you're just a gem. You're already so good at this, and your editing's fantastic.
Natural.
A real natural.
Oh yeah.
And Travis, do you have a channel you want to promote? Or are you getting started?
I'm just happy to be here, man.
Cool.
Aren't we all?
Yeah.
Aren't we all? Oh, okay. Yeah. So everybody, if you haven't subbed up to anybody here, sub up to anybody here. I really appreciate you stopping by. These conversations are really all over the place. It really is just a bunch of nerds just gabbing. But we really do appreciate you. Thank you for stopping by. Collect responsibly. Don't waste all your money on X-Men #1s, that one, but the other one you probably should. Thank you so much for stopping by. Love you. Bye.
Bye.